Again, these are just reports. Some of these are rumors, so take it with a grain of salt. But it's big enough for us to talk about. Deshaun Watson trade talks have been heating up between Philadelphia and the Houston Texans, according to multiple reports. There's a long timeline of the Eagles being connected to Watson going back to whenever he asked for that trade earlier in the offseason. And there's a little bit of expectation that this deal could possibly get done within the first 2 weeks of the preseason. If it doesn't get done at that point, I think we're not going to see it get done at all. Watson has, of course, had some legal trouble over the past few number of months, and, so that speaks for itself. But other reports have said that the two teams, while they're talking, they're not really heating up as it was claimed. But what we've learned from the NFL is where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So, Andrew, I'm going to ask you, what do we think about the fit of Deshaun Watson in Philadelphia, and what could it possibly cost them?
If you're Philly, dude, you're going to have to fork over some first-round picks, dude. The fit, look at the kind of quarterback Watson is. He's a playmaker. He's mobile. He's basically you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts, dude, he's basically a more polished, better version of Jalen Hurts. A lot better version of what Jalen Hurts is. So he's a lot better version of what they are probably already going to march out there. And he's a proven guy, Houston. They've been to the playoffs. They've been to the divisional round and everything multiple times. I think he's been an all-pro too. So he's a proven guy and everything. And what are they getting? They're getting a better version of what they already have and a guy who's proven. And I think Watson would fit in Philly. I mean, Watson's one of those guys, dude, because he's a playmaker. He could fit pretty much anywhere because he can extend plays and he can use his legs. I've been watching enough of fucking Watson since his days at Clemson. And then in the fucking AFC South in Houston, I've been watching enough of Deshaun Watson to know what Deshaun Watson brings to the table. He would fit perfectly in Philly because he's basically just a better version of what they already have. A lot better.
Oh, yeah. Like, if you ask me, Deshaun Watson, like, he's a top 10, like he's easily a top 10 quarterback. The ability is there, the arm strength is there, the accuracy is there, the leadership is there. We know what he is. He is worth probably like 3 or 4 first round picks if we're being honest with you.
And especially Houston. By the way, I'm sorry to cut you off. The only way Houston even pulls the trigger and sends him away is because Houston doesn't have any first round picks for the next couple of years. The only way Houston even does that is if they get first round picks. And that's going to be interesting to see because teams knowing that they are that handcuffed between the contract and knowing that, they want first round picks, you're going to see, could he go to Philly? You're going to see Philly maybe try to hold out and see if they could maybe, finesse for maybe instead of an extra first round pick, maybe send like a later second or third round pick years down the road so they could hang on to that potential future first round. They're definitely going to send first rounders. If they do make this move, definitely send first rounders. But how many first rounders is the question? And Philly, I mean, the whole NFL knowing the situation that Houston is in with regards to that draft, like with their draft picks, I could see them holding out and potentially trying to, instead of sending one extra first rounder, maybe sending like a future second or a future third in the place of that extra first rounder.
I mean, see, I agree with you in part, but I think that the onus is more on Philly because it depends on how much they actually want him. Because, like if we're being honest, Philly isn't a team that's a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. That's just not true. They're not a quarterback away from. They're a quarterback. They're a Deshaun Watson away from winning this division. If Deshaun Watson shows up in Philly, they're easily like the favorite.
Odds of
then
them winning the division definitely shoot up.
Oh well, yeah, because they're not. No one's ever gonna beat the odds makers or no one's gonna. In the eyes of the odds makers, the Cowboys are always gonna be number one in that division. But
until
as
the
far
Cowboys decide to Cowboys,
yeah, well, until they Dallas it. But the Eagle, so it's all in their ballpark. I think the cost is gonna be probably 3 to 4 first round picks plus some other compensation as well because that's what the Houston Texans are gonna want. The other thing that's been lingering about this that we've kind of talked around are the legal issues that Deshaun Watson is facing. Does that because they're still there? He's at training camp and all that, but they're still there. Does that potentially drive the price down for this guy who might have all the talent but comes with some extra baggage that you're going to have to deal with? Is that going to distract the other players? Is that going to distract the team? Is he going to miss time? Those are things that Philly are probably thinking about when they're making these decisions. So Those are things to keep in mind. So could that potentially drive the price down? Maybe. As far as the fit go, I mean, it's not like, so again, it's not like Philly's a quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl. That's not what this team is. Deshaun Watson will immediately impact this team in a positive way, but they got to get better defensively. They got to get better on the offensive line. They got to get better receivers, better help for Deshaun Watson. Because if he doesn't have anyone to throw to, it's going to be very similar to what he was in Houston last year, which is like he played great. Everyone around him sucked. And the team's going to go 4-12 or whatever, or be mediocre. So to kind of outclass, I guess, or outbalance that mediocrity, they're going to have to do something. And you would have to think, like, is Philly the right fit for him at this point? Because, and is this even the right fit for Philly? Because, like, dude, if you pull a Bill O'Brien, right? I shouldn't say that because Deshaun Watson is a significantly better player than anyone Bill O'Brien traded for. But if you take away, or if you trade away like your future, basically next two, let's say 2-year first round picks, right? I'm really nice about this. You trade away your next 2 first round picks. Is it gonna be really worth it if your team is middling or maybe makes the playoffs at like 8-8 or not 8-8, 8-9, 9-8, whatever it's going to be, and then on the flip side, you don't have any more first round picks to help build out the team and fill out the roster and get some other pieces that you need. Because in order to win a Super Bowl, in order to compete in the playoffs, they're going to need defense. They're going to need better defensive line. They're going to need a better offensive line. These are big holes that we saw last year in this team that really held them back from even competing. Like the Eagles were were the first team in the NFC East out of the playoff hunt. That is a big freaking deal. That is a big indictment. That is a big that's damning for them. So they have a long ways to go. And a Deshaun Watson is not going to fix it. So that's something to think about. But as far as talks of them heating up, I think that's probably taken a little bit out of proportion. I don't think that the talks are heating up, because if they were, I think we would have seen somebody pull the trigger by now. But we'll see. We'll see if the Eagles are trigger happy, because you do this, you fill out your most important position, but what happens to the rest? That's why I'm always shaky about just trading for a quarterback and then hoping everything else will fall in place.
Well, what's their cap situation looking like in Philly too? Because don't forget, they did. Who did they trade for when in the Carson Wentz deal? How did the Carson Wentz deal go down? Because they got out of.
It's like a conditional second round pick, I think. So it's like a second round pick that can turn, it's a third round pick or something that can turn to a second round pick, or a second round pick that can turn to a first round pick. I think it's the latter, actually. So like it's one of those kinds of picks. So it's like basically a second round pick. It just depends on how many games Wentz plays and if he wins. And from the look of it, he's gonna miss some time. So it might end up just being like the shorter end of that. But sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. You also have to look at the cap situation too, because Deshaun Watson,
$16 million.
That's a pretty big price tag. I mean, I don't know if his is as big, but still a pretty big price tag. And you don't know how much Houston is willing to, take on. Like, you don't know how much Houston is willing to say, like, we're going to pay a little bit. You don't know. So that's all the stuff they have to iron out. But we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.